Hello everyone, welcome to our group presentation. This is Fatima Jannat. We will talking about the impact of current supply chain disruption on food supplies and the business performance. According to case study on Francis Scott Key breakdown in US, the current different versions globally and the supply chain issues of Boeing. Here is my group members. This is the table of content. Introduction. Supply chain management refers to the coordination of goods from supplier to the consumer. It is important to manage the supply chain properly because it helps an organization to become more sustainable and compliant, gain the competitive advantage by mitigating risks, gaining customer satisfaction, and increasing the efficiency. Nowadays, supply chain disbursement has become a major issue for worldwide corporate operations in the age of globalization. This disbursement not only affect the nearby companies but also result in adverse consequences for the sectors across the globe. The recent disbursement are the infrastructure failure and geopolitical conflicts. Research aim. This study will assess the impact of current supply chain problems on food supplies globally and the business performance, considering the context of Baltimore Francis Scott Key breakdown in US, the current wars globally, and the Boeing supply chain problems. The research objectives are to assess the impact of Baltimore breakdown in the context of financial implications and the transportation delay to local and regional food supply chains, then to investigate how supply chains all across the world are shaped by ongoing wars and conflict in the Middle East, Russia, Ukraine, and Africa, then to analyze at the obstacles and their impacts that Boeing are facing due to aerospace supply chain disruption. Finally, to provide recommendation on how to raise resilience against the approaching shocks from the supply chain disruption. We develop context based on these three case studies. Context on the Baltimore Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse and its effect on supply chain. A cargo ship called with the Baltimore Francis Scott Key Bridge on March 26, 2024, causing its collapse. The bridge was a vital infrastructure element, helping 1.3 million vehicles to be moved yearly. Moreover, the Port of Baltimore handles over a million metric tons of agricultural food goods. As a result, the closing of a key facility like this bridge has a noticeable detrimental effect on the local and regional food distribution supply chain. This breakdown causes to increase the transportation cost, create the potential food shortage, and fluctuate the price. The impact of Baltimore Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse on food supply chain and the transportation. The port handled more than 1.59 million metric tons of agricultural imports in 2023. The closure of this bridge has caused significant delays in food product transportation, affecting both local and international supply chains. Supply chain disruption caused a 25% rise in spoils rate of perishable items, especially the grains, vegetables, and fresh food during the transit delay. This makes the food supply disruption even more problematic. As a result, the quality of food become impacted, the potential health risks risen, and also increase the wastage of food and reduce the shelf life, finally leading to a notable food shortage. And it also drives the supply unpredictability as well as higher consumer costs due to the supply delays. Economic consequences of supply chain disruption due to the infrastructure disruptions. Rerouting led to a 30% rise in transportation cost, which had an immediate effect on the food product price. As a result, the food price became increased. Moreover, it causes the loss of 15,300 port-related jobs. Additional expense passed to the consumer. Overall, it leads to reducing the purchasing power, inflation pressure, and also losing a missed income tax.
War zones and supply chains overview. Global supply chains are greatly affected by the geopolitical events in the area, especially the Ukraine, Yemen, Syria, Somalia, and Libya. And it leads to disrupted the transportation routes, destroy the infrastructure, unstable the business environment, and finally its impact on the global food supply crisis. Ukraine Russia conflict. Moreover, the continuous confliction between the Ukraine and Russia has had a serious consequences for the world supply chain, especially in the agricultural sector. For example, the crisis in Ukraine seriously impacted on the wheat supply, therefore influencing the world food globally and pricing. Many nations, particularly in Africa and the Middle East, have suffered shortages and the price rises, resulting in the disruption of this shipment.
Hi everyone, my name is Sham Shashi. Today I will be discussing how the ongoing conflict in the Middle East is affecting global oil supplies and shipping routes. The Middle East is a crucial region for the world's oil production. When conflicts arise here, they don't just impact the local area, they disrupt global oil supplies and key shipping routes. These disruptions make it harder to transport oil and other goods, which affect economies around the world. The result is increased oil price and challenges for industries that depend on stable energy supplies. Conflicts in other regions like Ukraine also have a big impact on global trade routes and agriculture supply chain. For example, Ukraine is a major grain exporter, but due to the ongoing conflict, their grain export have dropped by 40%. This reduction has driven up global grain prices by 20%, making it harder for countries that rely on this import to afford food. This situation is especially tough for countries in Africa, where food shortage is becoming more severe. The disruption of agriculture supply chain highlights how conflicts can cause widespread food insecurity. This disruption led to significant changes in global product flows. With oil supplies becoming less reliable and more expensive, energy prices rise globally. This increase in energy costs makes transportation more expensive for businesses. As transportation costs go up, so do the prices of goods and services, which eventually affect consumers. We see higher prices on everyday items because companies pass these increased costs down the supply chain. This is the one way the Middle East conflict directly impact our daily lives. Lastly, I want to highlight the humanitarian impact of these supply chain disruptions. For example, in Ukraine, the conflict has caused a 50% increase in hunger rates due to disrupted food supplies. It's not just food that affected. Medical supplies are also harder to come by, leading to increased health problems. In countries like Yemen, where conflict has already made it difficult to deliver aid, these disruptions are making a dire situation even worse. Millions of people are now facing severe shortages of food, medicine, and other essential goods. In conclusion, the conflicts in the Middle East and other regions are having serious effects on global supply chains. It's important to find ways to minimize this impact and ensure that essential goods can reach those who need them. I hope my part of the presentation was clear, and I am happy to answer any questions or clear up any doubts you might have. Thank you for your attention. Hello everyone. Today I will be discussing some of the major challenges Boeing has faced recently, particularly in their supply chain. As we know, Boeing is one of the largest aerospace companies in the world and its supply chain is incredibly complex. However, this complexity has made it vulnerable to disruptions. Recently, Boeing has encountered several significant challenges including production halts, the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, and various legal issues. These factors have further strained their supply chain, creating a ripple effect throughout their entire operations. Understanding these challenges is crucial given Boeing's central role in the global aerospace industry. Now, let's divide into some specific challenges Boeing has faced. First, part shortages. Boeing has struggled to acquire essential components like titanium and semiconductors. These shortages have caused delays in manufacturing and increased cost. Second one, production disruptions. The slowdown in acquiring critical parts has led to delays in airplane assembly, which in turn has delayed deliveries to customers. This has further compounded Boeing's operational difficulties. Third one, financial losses. Continuous supply chain disruptions have significantly impacted Boeing financial performance. For example, the company reported a financial loss of $634 million in a recent quarter, largely due to the need to source alternative suppliers and shipping. Finally, quality control issues. The rush to find alternative suppliers has sometimes resulted in compromises in quality. This has led to safety concern also, such as a door panel blowing off a Boeing 73 MAX 9 mid-flight in early 2024, which triggered regulatory scrutiny and damaged Boeing's reputation. To ensure the accuracy and reliability of our analysis, we used a variety of credible data sources. We drew from industry reports like those from IBIS World, which provide comprehensive insight into the global aerospace industry. We also utilized data from the US Census Bureau and the Aerospace Industry Association to understand broader economic impact on the future trends. Additionally, news articles and case studies from sources like the Associated Press provided real world examples of infrastructure failures and their effect on the global supply chains. For instance, the Baltimore Bridge collapse had significant ripple effects on the transportation and logistics. Finally, we referenced academic research to ensure our analysis was grounded in empirical data. This includes studies on the impact of global conflicts and the COVID-19 pandemic on supply chains, ensuring a true understanding of the issues at hand. In conclusion, Boeing's supply chain challenges highlight the vulnerabilities in even more sophisticated global networks. The part shortages, production disruptions, financial losses, and quality control issues have all contributed to a difficult period for Boeing. These challenges underscore the importance of robust supply chain management, especially for companies operating on a global scale. Addressing these issues is crucial for Boeing to maintain its leadership in the aerospace industry. Thank you for listening, and I hope this presentation has provided you with a clear understanding of the challenges Boeing faced and the importance of effective supply chain management. I appreciate your attention and I am happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Hello. Data analysis parts help identify the patterns, trends, and relationships that may not be apparent through the casual normal observations. So we have three cases here. So we use a three different analysis approach based on the case. For the first case about the Baltimore Bridge, we use both qualitative and a qualitative analysis and to understand and analyze the full scope of Baltimore Bridge collapse that's impact on the supply chain issue. And the first, we use the quantitative data to identify the problem weight to see overall cargo down for the entire process. So this is the monthly total cargo turn report from the Maryland Port Administrations. So we use the monthly uh, total cargo 10 every month for the 4 years report. It's like the big data sheets from the Maryland port. And as we see, like every month we have like 1 million over 10. It's running on the bridge. And when the problems come on the March this year, it's got down to the 800,000, and then April it's zero, and then get back reopening time in May it's got again like a 200,000. So which just means like we lost a lot of like cargo tens wasted in those 3 months time. For the second part, we use quantitative to identify overall changes in logistic pattern and alternative routes impact to additional cost and loss. Here we see by the different strong sources, it's estimated about the cargo income loss will be 11 billions potentially, and also the due to the alternate routes is going to be costing 854 millions will be like the additional charges, and also damages and wasted rate is high to the 67 millions, and also other economic impact will be complexity and by using the alternate routes, and other the last thing is about the some organization will have to reformat their supply chain patterns according to this happen. For second case, war zone, we use the meta-analysis to understand the complexity of the subjects as war zone create multi-disruption to the supply chain process. The meta-analysis can be adapted to different research questions and type of the data on following finding point, disruptions of global food supplies, energy supply volatility and raw material shortages, and also transportations and logistic challenges. So we bring in the three different cases here: the Ukraine-Russia conflict, African conflict, and the Middle East tensions. We have been finding a lot of cases and the from the different resources, and we added the notes in here, all the detail. So as my colleague explained, very detailed in the above, and so I will not be explaining detail here. For the case of the boring, we use past analysis to understand the global perspective. The boring is a multinational corporation with a complex global supply chains. So that past analysis is the broad scope in assessing the international factors. So here, and we provided the pastel finding points. So Boeing is one of the world's largest aerospace companies, has faced significant challenges in the recent years, many of which are related to supply chain issue. Key problems are included the quality issues, the port shortages, skilled labor shortages, technological integration challenges, and regulatory inspections as well. So by systematically examining each basket category, Boring can identify the potential risks to its supply chain as well as opportunity for the improvement or any innovations.
Hello, this is Nipa Begum. Now I am presenting our conclusion and recommendation. The present trouble in the supply chain have very deep impact in many spheres of the world economy. Baltimore's code breakdown in US has caused havoc in the local and regional food supply and other product flow. Besides, they are fueling the food security around the world. And lastly, the Boeing supply chain issue has been negatively impact the final and business performance of the company that can be more detrimental in future. Recommendation for Baltimore funds is caught three base collapse. The first one is investing in infrastructure resilience. Government should investing in infrastructure resilience and the modernization and improvement of infrastructure helps lower the risks, and also developing alternative transportation routes because of rerouting transportation is become higher and alternative transportation cost saves our time, and also implementing advanced supply chain visibility tools, and finally initiating collaborating efforts. And recommendation for impact of war zones and on global supply chains. Now, first one is diversifying sourcing strategies. Diversifying is essential because grain exports to 40% as a result of the Ukraine-Russia conflict, which also caused global grain price to climb 20%, and also enhancing supply chain risk management. Attack on Red Sea commercial ship resulted in a 90% decline in container transportation, therefore including 10 to 50% of world marine trade, and investing in local production capability and security. Its measures companies operating in the conflict zone should invest in the security measure to protect their assets and personnel. And Boeing should implement robust quality control measures and also diversifying supplier base, and finally investing in advanced manufacturing technologies to overcome their supply chain issue.